Hola, it's Kaipacha with the weekly Pele report for Wednesday, July 26th of 2023. And last week I was out on the Pacific coast, Playa Herradura, and this week I'm on the Caribbean coast, outside of Puerto Viejo. Look at this tree with the sand and the leaves on top of the branches. I mean, nature, Mother Nature is an artist, constantly giving us new artistic expressions of life in its so many different ways. Life and death, the moon is in Scorpio, and she is going to stay there until tomorrow, Thursday, when she's going to go into Sagittarius. She will be trining Saturn, opposing Jupiter today, and then tomorrow she's going to move on to oppose Uranus and square Mercury and Venus. Mercury and Venus are coming together, conjunct, tomorrow in Leo. And then Mercury is going to in-conjunct Pluto before moving into Virgo. Right? So there is a shift here in our thinking, in the mind, lots of Mercury energy going on. I want to talk about this. It's actually a yod that has to do with Mercury in conjunct Neptune and in conjunct Pluto, with Pluto sextile Neptune, gives us the fickle finger of fate. Yes? And the yod is a very powerful configuration, and I want to talk about that a little bit. So Mercury is, I'm going to be highlighting, and this, even this mantra, I think, has a lot to do with this yod and a lot to do with Mercury. Don't forget, Venus is still going retrograde, and so Mercury is moving away, joining Mars in Virgo, which is ruled by Mercury. And Venus comes into an in-conjunct with Neptune on Sunday. And the moon keeps moving around. Saturday, she will trine Chiron and Mercury and Venus, making a grand trine before she squares Neptune. And then the other big thing is Mars trine Jupiter. Mars will be trining Jupiter on Tuesday. It's exact the same day that Mercury comes into a square with, I'm sorry, not a square, an opposition. I'm a little distracted here because I want to give you a sight of the island out there as we come out of the jungle. What do we see? Dun 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 da dun. Yeah, baby. Ow. All right, let me look at the camera and talk to you. All right, this sea is so wild here. I got to show it to you. All right, it's right down. I am on the crashing rocks. Oh, baby. But it's so spectacular. It's so spectacular that I just wanted to share it with you. So I'll try to concentrate and deliver some astrology here in the midst of all this. But it's all tied together, as above, so below. As without, so within. The macrocosm mirrors the microcosm. The face of the Father God is reflected in the waters of Mother Earth below. So there's a lot going on here. What I didn't mention there was the full moon. The full moon is a coming, and that full moon is a happening in Aquarius, right? What's that degree again? I've got the Sabian symbol for it. I think it is very powerful and very appropriate. It's at 9 degrees, 16 minutes of Aquarius. Let me read you the Sabian symbol for the 10th degree of Aquarius, even though my books got all soaking wet on the way out here. 10 degrees of Aquarius. This is an interesting one. I'm going to really try to weave together the numerous different energies that are happening this week. The moon's moving out of Scorpio into Sag, then into Capricorn, till finally next week into a full moon in Aquarius, right? So she's building, waxing, growing larger and larger and larger, reflecting back more and more. And we learn through relationship, through this reflecting mirror of other people. And this is a man who had for a time become the embodiment of a popular ideal is made to realize that as a person, he is not that ideal. The keynote is the need to deal with human beings as persons, rather than as screens upon which one projects one's dream and ideal. Here we have a final statement on the relationship between mental, spiritual vision and living reality, between persons and the ideal they appear to incarnate, between the great lover image and one's need for love. A love that the presence of that person stimulated and aroused. The star's popularity fades away. The person remains. What has this episode of popularity actually done to the person? This is a question that can be applied to a great variety of circumstances. This symbol brings to our attention an issue that is basic and may confront us in many different forms. Person versus archetype. This can mean a critical need for self-re-evaluation. Having just had my birthday and I'm looking at my solar return with the sun opposite Pluto, this whole Plutonian metamorphosis underworld, Venus retrograding down into the underworld. I talked last week about the need to re-evaluate who we are, what we value, what our priorities are, what is success, what is fulfillment, is it popularity? Are we the image that we put out on Instagram or Facebook or Telegram or YouTube? Is that us? Is that me? No. It's an image. This is Neptune. Neptune rules movies, rules the collective unconscious, rules magic, illusions, images, photography, and projection of our unconscious desires, longings, inner attractions. So here we have Mercury moving away. The 150-degree aspect, that quincunx aspect, is a breaking free a graduation. So Mercury, Neptune is almost like, you know, the movie screen we have in our forehead. You know, it's like, you know, we see what's going on. It is our imagination, and it helps with writing, singing, dancing, embodying spirit, bringing the spirit into form. It's very beautiful. And that Mercury is breaking free, graduating from its time with Neptune. And this is an adjustment. Neptune, the heavier body, needs to let go of Mercury. We need to come out of that world of illusion, innocence, hoping, naively projecting, imagining that, oh yes, that image is the truth. And we need to like go deeper. We need to dig down past the surface and into the underworld. And then we have that, it's a 210 degree quincunx. Mercury around from Pluto up at 29 Capricorn. And that is a very powerful, you know, Pluto is the planet of metamorphosis, of death and resurrection, of reanalysis, of rebirth, of regeneration, of transmutation from this innocent little naivety child into the grown, mature wisdom keeper. So this week is about, you know, the need for each of us and every one of us to take our Mercury, and I talked about that the week before last, right? That the ego is the captain of the ship, but not the owner. And Mercury is this, you know, the messenger of the gods, and it is the tool of the ego. And we really need to use that to really decipher what we want to bring through and what we envision and what we imagine versus the Virgo reality that is. So right after that inconjunct, Mercury is really moving along very rapidly, joins Mars in Virgo. We'll have Mercury and Mars both in Virgo for the next month. Earth, practical, analytical, real, grounded, work, effort, service, bring it in, bring it through. So we can see that we're walking on a little bit of a tightrope here. And this tightrope is between worlds, the world of spirit and the world of matter. And we don't want to get lost or taken away into that world of spirit, and we don't want to lose that world of spirit and get lost in matter and the physical, material existence without spirit. That's what this week's mantra is about. It's like our job as humans is to unite spirit and matter. We are spirit in material physical bodies. So we need to walk in spirit. We need to walk with spirit. We need to talk to spirit. We need to listen to spirit. We need to witness spirit. We need to ask spirit to witness us. We need to have this live, breathing exchange with the invisible, unseen spiritual worlds. And this is what is under threat today. Steiner talked about it 100 years ago. The vaccine that would close off the portal of the spiritual world from human access. The transhumanism movement that really just seeks to, you know, use artificial intelligence. I've gone on this chat GPT, calling astrology a pseudoscience. It's who's programming these artificial intelligence, who's programming the algorithms for the chat GPT. This is a very materialistic, machine-oriented, harmonic energy that is devoid of the living, breathing sensations of magical mystery that are in the rocks and the stones, the trees, the birds, the animals, the waves. And it's what makes us human. I gave you a link last week in the notes for the Greg Braden talk where he talks about our divinity and what sets us apart as human beings from anything else in this plane of existence. And it is that potential of evolving into more than we are. And we do that through, guess what? Evolutionary astrology tells us we evolve through our emotions, through our feelings, not our brain, not our head, not our Mercury. So it's interesting that Mercury and Mars are heading off, and Venus rules the heart chakra, is pulling back and staying in that sign of Leo, connected to the heart. And so we can see this kind of separation occurring. What we want to do is sit with it and sit in it and be absorbed and not allow ourselves to be, you know, shut down, shut off, drawn into the virtual realities, drawn into the screen, drawn into the images, drawn into the false personas that we can experience through all the social media. And we need to gather together in living, breathing groups. And we need to have intimate union and connecting through the heart, through love, through emotion, through a feeling connection, to stir that spirit within us. That Kundalini life force is a living juice, this lusciousness, this indescribable spiritual energy that can't be boxed, it can't be explained, it can't fit into ones and zeros and sine waves and computers. So let's not lose ourselves as we enter this Aquarian age and as technology becomes so amazing in so many ways. We need to really pull in and remember our source and remember our truth, that we are so much more than our thoughts, than our thinking, than our machines, than our bodies. We are divine beings capable of, so much of, what we're doing with computers. One day we will be able to do without. And what we want to be doing is developing our extrasensory perception, telecommunication, telekinesis, teleportation, clairvoyance, clairaudience, to really experience more than observe, more than be entertained, become the entertainment. Yeah, baby. Ow! So yeah, this week's song is The Court of the Crimson King. I love, love, love King Crimson. Very old band, but still awesome. Check it out in the link below. This week's mantra is, it is ever more important to live in spirit every day, as without its higher, wiser vision, I may not see the way. We ask for spirit guidance. We open our third eyes. I have to read you the degree of the resolution point of the yod is the exact opposition of Mercury, which is the 29th degree of Aquarius. It is a butterfly emerging from a chrysalis. The capacity to utterly transform the character of one's consciousness by radically altering the structural patterns of everyday living and the types of relationships one enters upon. We need to really incarnate spirit through our actions, thoughts, deeds, words, relationships. This is Virgo, the polarity of Pisces. This is the 29th degree of Aquarius. It really calls us into metamorphosis. Key word for this week, for Pluto at the 29th degree of Capricorn. We metamorphose ourselves and we metamorphose society and the world. As we change, the world changes. Our perception changes, and we transform and heal ourselves and each other. So it's being in spirit, not watching, not observing, not praying to something out there, but really invoking and inviting this magical spirit into conscious revelation. It is ever more important to live in spirit every day, as without its higher, wiser vision, I may not see the way. May you see the way this week, this life, with spirit guidance, and not get sucked into the mainstream, baby, but break free, liberate, and love. Namaste. Aloha. So much love.